Hi, welcome to Matsu Valley Avionics. I'm Steve O'Dean. In this video, we'll be talking about the equipment we're installing in our PA28R-200 project plane. Before I start talking about the equipment, I wanted to mention a couple other things. I'm going to start calling the plane Farah. The PA28R-200's not rolling off the tongue, and I'll be saying it a lot in these videos. We do name all of our own airplanes here at Matsu Valley Avionics, and so that's been her name for many years, and so we'll move on calling her Farah. The considerations that I had when I was designing the panel or thinking about the panel, they've changed a little bit. In the beginning, we had considered two 10-inch displays, GTN 750XI, remote almost everything, and I just went back to thinking, for this airplane, I want to update it. I want everything digital, but I want to have a panel-mounted avionics stack. So I shifted, and then I just thought dual displays was a little overkill for the plane. It's a 1969 early, it's a low time, really great shape airplane, but you have to consider it's easy to get out of control. And so I tapered back a little bit, and I think I like where I'm at with this install. I have another project plane, a Cherokee 6, that is going to get a dual 3X 750 install. So it still gives me the chance to go crazy and bring this one back a little bit. The other consideration for me was matching color displays. So the Garmin released their new radios this last year, and they have the nice color displays that match the 3X and their GPSs. But the transponders, still a black and white screen. I'm guessing that's probably something they have thought about. But I didn't want that black and white screen, so I moved to a GPS transponder. And so the color of the whole suite is important to me, that when I look at the airplane and I look at the panel, that it's matching. It looks like it really should to me. And so that was one of my other main considerations. So I'll go into the equipment now. I think that's all I wanted to really cover there. As far as my descriptions of this equipment, they're basic. I'm not going into full functionality and detail. I'm basically showing you what we're putting in. Maybe I highlight the best top features, 2 or 3 features of each instrument, each piece of equipment, and move on. It's more that if you're going to watch these videos as we install, you might understand what we're doing a little bit more when you know this is going in there, versus if you thought I was putting in 275s or wondering what we're doing. So this just gives you an idea, because I'm going to show videos of us cutting the panels, and it will make sense then where stuff like looks. You see a big hole, you know that's the display. And so it's not to talk about each individual product and every feature and capability in flight that this has. I will do videos later of the airplane and in the airplane, and video all kinds of different scenarios in the airplane, just to continue this process. But so that will come at some point anyway. But let's talk about the equipment. You see this is the Garmin G3X Touch 10-inch display. It's the larger display. It's going to be set up as a PFD on probably this side for me, and an MFD on this side. These require remote-mounted line replaceable units. We'll call those LRUs. So this doesn't just start working that way. We have to have the sensing device somewhere that provides the information to the display. The display is a GPS, but it is not a PFD out of the box. It is a multifunction display and GPS, simple GPS. Let's not assume you can do coupled approaches with this, the way it sits. It's not a COM. That's where all of these pieces will start interfacing and talking to this. And then I will add an engine indicating system to it, which is another line replaceable unit, and that will likely show on this side. That's how I like to set mine up. It has Garmin's dual knob with push button on both sides for controlling zoom or baro. For each screen, those have different functions. So you have to manage, you have to monitor what those do as you're using the device. A couple of quick keys for nearest and direct to, and just a couple function keys here. And so that's going to be in front of the pilot. And this is a certified aircraft, so it requires a standby attitude indicator. So we have our G5 standby attitude indicator. These have been around, pretty familiar with most people. I like interfacing this with the 3X. We have really good luck. The other option would be a GI 275. That's a very capable and powerful instrument. I think it's too much for my airplane and my install. So I chose to stay with the G5. I'll probably flush mount that in the panel to match this so that everything has a nice plane to it. And this guy, in addition to an attitude indicator, it has a 4-hour battery attached to it, and it will also display airspeed, altimeter, vertical speed, turn and slip, ground speed. It can be programmed for the aircraft's V speeds, and so there can be some altitude alerting, although we'll have an autopilot interface, which will probably be more functional. So it is still a very powerful instrument, and in an aircraft, dual G5s, VFR or IFR, is still a very, very good upgrade to the aircraft. And so good instruments. Okay, so the next piece of equipment we'll talk about is our audio panel. This is the GMA 345. This is a stereo, left-right channel stereo, 3D audio, Bluetooth, dual comm, dual nav with a USB, dual pilot, co-pilot volume music controls, individual for side to side. And that's a nice feature. And so I felt this was the best audio panel for my install. There's one feature that I don't have with this, and that's the push to command. The GMA 350 has push to command, but I think I'm happy with this audio panel. In this airplane, I'm not thinking that I'll miss up the push to command feature. In the other Cherokee, I have a GMA 35 interface to a 750, and so it does have push to command. So the Garmin has a couple other versions of this. They have a version with 3 comms as well. It's also called a 345, so you got to be careful you're getting the right one. And then they have a 342. Different features such as this USB can be, you can substitute the USB for a 3.5 millimeter audio input jack if you still have features or devices that you need audio input into your audio panel for. You can also wire a 3.5 millimeter jack to an input from the back and still have your USB. And then one of the audio panels doesn't have Bluetooth. But I really liked this one. This is, I think, going to be perfect for our install. Then the main navigator I'm choosing is a GPS transponder called a GNX 375. This is a WAS capable GPS approved for LPV approaches down to 200 feet. It's got a nice sized, clear, very colorful touchscreen. The screen's maybe not as big as a 650 or 750 for sure. It's hard to get the screen that big anymore, but I think in this airplane I was happy with the size of my split screens. And then I'm also going to interface an ARIA 760 to this for traffic. I'm going to just have a separate traffic screen on my 760. I already have it. It's what the airplane has had for several years, and I don't want to throw it away, or I have it. I don't have any other use for it, so I'm going to mount that next to this, and then I'll have a dedicated traffic screen. And then I can just use my multifunction pages here, but I won't have to use them for traffic because I'll have a separate traffic screen. So the transponder side of this is essentially a GTX 345 all-in-one built into this. It's a 1090 extended squitter out with a dual link traffic and weather input, and provides features like target trend, which will anticipate an aircraft's heading and speed and give you a visual of where the two of you might be in 2 minutes. And so you can anticipate some issues there. The GPS has terrain, traffic, all the normal map screen, everything, waypoint information, flight plan, all the normal functionality as their normal GPSs as well. So just a smaller package, and it's mainly interfacing to this, provides me with a large display that I can see and then manage the flight plan here. So I think that's it for the 375. My two comms and nav will be Garmin's new radios, GNC 215, which is the comm nav, and a GTR-205, which is a comm only. They're the new 1.3 slimline radios. Large color display. Again, colors all matching. They have standby frequency monitor on the comms, and on the nav it has standby monitor on the nav as well. They have the nav has a little CDI on it. It can be interfaced to a GPS for waypoint information and distance to the VOR. If you have that GPS interface to the radio, you'll get that distance. So I think that's it. One touch, 121.5 tuning, and then also they will have remote tuning by the 370 or the 3X. So I'll be able to set frequencies or choose frequencies and transfer those to these radios. So on this display, these have a quicker way to find the frequencies when they have the database and GPS in them, but it's still probably a little more convenient in the waypoint information screen and nearest screens there. So those are my two comms and nav. So my navigation will be a wash GPS and a nav, just those two. Next is our GFC 500. This is a 3-axis autopilot. It'll be a pitch, pitch, roll, and electric trim. These are full digital autopilots with Garmin's GSA28 smart servos. Provides very smooth and stable operation. Couple of the main features, safety features really, of this autopilot is the return to level blue button, and that does exactly what it says. The built-in feature, which you don't really see anything here for, is called electronic stability protection. Monitors attitude, airspeed, pitch, roll, and if the aircraft goes outside of one of those configured tolerances, it will engage the autopilot and correct that. And so it keeps the airplane in a safe fly-in attitude and airspeed. The autopilot will be interfaced such that it can couple to entered flight plans with the GPS or the nav for ILS approaches, GPS flight plans, GPS approaches, and so, or you can just also operate it single, heading function, track now, so you can follow track, or nav, which follows your flight plans. So that will be our autopilot. So really, that's the summary of which we'll see being installed in our Aero. The panel has been completely removed, and all the old instruments and harnessing are out. The autopilot is installed already, the servos, and we're ready really to start wiring. We have the wings are wired, the GMU's installed, and so we're trucking along. I have episode 2 and 3 almost ready, so I'll post this episode and then give a couple days and then post episode 2 and 3. So I'm trying to keep this moving, trying to keep the progress going and get this plane done in 2 or 3 months. It's a side project, so it It's not our main work, and so it's not our typical time frame, but it's hopefully quick enough to get done by the spring. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and look for our other episodes.